I'm glad you asked. Joe Biden on ESPN yesterday with Sage Steele. Here's your answer.
You have to wash your hands and keep social distancing. And so it's going to be a little while. We can't, and some people think they're being tough guys, not wearing masks. Well, guess what? They're hurting themselves and other people.
Yeah.
Can he just be quiet?
Yeah, stop trying to be such a tough guy.
Rub my legs.
Yo, you're such a big tough guy, Scott Shellady. Yeah.
I get goosebumps. It's
gonna be a little while.
Thinking about it. Yeah.
In a little while.
Right. Well, because you know what? They can't give it an answer.
You know what?
How much is your fair share?
Go wash your hands.
Right, exactly. Go wash your whole body.
A related story, this is important too, because this is mainly just a marketing problem. We Can Do This advertising campaign to be launched by the Biden administration to encourage Americans to get vaccinated.
You got to say it like he says it, though. We can do this.
Right. I'm not as robust.
Yeah.
Is he gonna have like the Uncle Sam outfit? Remember
Right.
from his press conference? It's not I want you anymore. It's I need you.
Yeah, right. To hold me up.
Yeah, to hold me up. Phil Kerpen, president of the American Commitment, chairman of the Internet Freedom Coalition, joins us now to talk more about this. He's written a good piece over at The Spectator, COVID and the Illusion of Control. Illusion of control, should be the tagline for the Biden administration. Phil, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Great to be with you.
Morning. Thank you.
Can I just say that the small sample size thing is about the funniest thing I've ever heard, because the number of human beings involved in the CDC double mask study was zero. It was like 20 mannequins, and they spent an afternoon doing different mannequin setups with hosiery sleeves holding down the paper mask being their favorite, although I rarely see the hosiery sleeve being used in practice. But
only in bank robberies.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, when I see liberals double masking, I say, the best way to do that would be a hosiery sleeve. But they don't like that when I point that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying, they love, basically the big studies they use for masking being a great idea involve one hairdresser in Missouri, or maybe two hairdressers, I think. So that's a sample size of two. Hamster cages that had mask material put between them, and of course mannequin studies. And then when we have real human being studies, and there are peer-reviewed ones that have been published that Rand Paul's also tweeted out in the past, they say, too small a sample size. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how about we've talked about
more hamsters and mannequins, and then we can match what they have.
We've talked about this too. And virtually nobody has mentioned this. I don't know why this isn't put forward more often. The Mount Sinai study that was done in conjunction with the military, where you had
that was incredible. That was with Marines.
Yeah, tell us.
Recruits. That was with Marine recruits with total military discipline, masked constantly, told to keep their distance, and so on and so forth. And the transmission was the exact same as if they did none of that. I mean, it basically made no difference. And
in point of fact, in that study, those that were masked and monitored had a higher incidence of COVID transmission.
I don't think it was statistically significant, but it is interesting it was higher.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, when you're dealing with a highly infectious respiratory virus, you're not going to stop it through mandate, through good behavior will stop the spread of a highly infectious respiratory virus. I don't think so. And what we've seen is that essentially places that are next to each other, whether you're talking about adjacent counties with different policies or adjacent states with different policies, have essentially the same disease curve, even if they have wildly different policies. And so really, this is not about stopping a virus. This is about showing your virtue, showing how much you care. And this idea among government officials and these public health officials is that if you don't impose additional hardship, if you don't hurt people economically and educationally and social emotionally through these various mandates and lockdowns and restrictions and mask mandates, that means you don't care. That means the virus is your fault, even though none of those things actually stop the virus. They just add additional hardship on top. But we need to suffer to show we care.
I love you.
I think is the mentality.
I love you so much. I'm going to lock you in the trunk of my car.
Right.
But the vaccination, the and everything around that, the shaming to get vaccinated. it's not just to protect you, it's to protect others. But yet, if you're vaccinated, still wear masks, still social distance, so on and so forth, because you still can transmit. That's part of the messaging too. Maybe the ad campaign can clarify that. But it's sort of problematic to the rational that I get vaccinated, but I still have to wear a mask. I still have to social distance. So then, number one, what's the point of the vaccination? Or number two, what's the point of the mask? One or the other.
Well, you know, this is the worst. This is the worst pitch for people to get vaccinated that you could ever imagine in the history of the world. They're basically denying the effectiveness of the vaccine by saying that after you're vaccinated, nothing changes.
Right.
And then they're trying to sort of what they're doing is, instead of saying the truth, which is we have really good data that shows this is a highly effective vaccine, get it and it'll prevent you from getting sick, which would be both true and a good pitch to get people to get the vaccine. They're saying essentially, the vaccine maybe doesn't work all that well. You could still transmit it, so nothing can change. But we're not going to lift any restrictions until everyone gets the vaccine. Like, wait a second. So, instead of pitching the vaccine on its merits, that it's going to help you, they're doing the opposite. They're saying it might not help much, but we're going to coerce you. We're going to require you. We're going to make you get it, or else we're not going to allow you to have freedom and engage in society. So they're turning what should be a positive into a negative.
And then the Freedom Front today, big day. The Excelsior rose off the showroom floor.
Being safe here, but if you're basically 50 or under, you've got a 99.5% chance of surviving if you get the virus. Okay, that's from the CDC.
That's like 20 to 50. If you're under 20, it's much higher. But yeah.
Right, and then So my question is always, and nobody's given me an answer. I have an answer, but the question is this: why do we need a vaccine for that?
Well, because here's why. Because if you can take a vaccine that's going to change that 1 in 200 chance of you dying to 1 in 2 million or something, and the downside is basically you're going to maybe feel sick for a couple days, having soreness at the injection site for a week or so, maybe you'll do it. Now, my whole thing is it should be your choice.
But there are other greater risks out there that we don't have vaccines for. I mean, I'll argue the fact that I think this vaccine is for your psychological health, not your physical health.
Well, there's some of that also. Look, I mean, I think the vaccine is very important for seniors.
100% agree with that. The older people, I'm fine with that.
Enormous risk.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're seeing very high uptake among seniors because they know that. It's not a secret. And so the question is kind of, as you get down the age distribution, we're going to see a lot less demand. For the reason you pointed out, people don't necessarily perceive as much of a risk because they've seen the numbers, they understand what's going on. At least, among certain people. I mean, there's going to be huge demand among young liberal people because they misperceive the risk. But, the question is when you get down to these lower age groups and the demand is going to be a lot less than it was among the seniors, are our public policy betters going to accept that, or are they going to try to coerce and demand and cajole and keep restrictions on and all of this counterproductive stuff? I mean, I think it's ridiculous. The right way to approach the vaccine is to say, look, we're, maybe 4 to 6 weeks away from everyone in the country who wants the vaccine having it. At that point, everything should go back 100% to normal because at that point, anyone who chooses not to get the vaccine doesn't endanger anyone except other people who made the same choice, because everyone who did choose to get the vaccine has it. And at that point, people made their choice.
Yeah, Phil, out of an abundance of caution, we're going to need to go ahead and have vaccine passports so that we can separate out
and 40 yards of bubble wrap.
Those neo-Luddites who didn't get vaccinated, maybe in an internment camp or something. But what we'll do so that we're not, to slow walk it, to give them a chance to assimilate into the Borg, is vaccine passport to travel, vaccine passport for major events. We'll have big cities and blue states mandate that, incorporate that, work with their compliant business community to make it normative. I mean, is that the vision you see? Because that's what I see coming into focus.
Well, I think there are going to be a lot of people who advocate that, and we might see it in some places. But I think that I think that by and large, the vaccine, along with the amount of accumulated natural immunity that we've got, with a huge percentage of the population already having this thing, is going to lead to a crash in the most significant metric, and you're just not going to see high levels of hospitalization and death. Kind of as we get into summer in the northern states, it'll be over. The South might have the southern wave that they had last year to some extent, but I think that. By later in this year, it's just going to be one virus of many. It's not going to be dominant. It's not going to cause these big waves of serious disease. And at that point, I don't know how you really make the case for any of that stuff. I think the demand for it is going to dissipate, especially because, among the people who are most scared and most worried and so forth, they're going to get the vaccine and they're going to, it's going to work for them, and they're not going to be scared, I think. So, I'm optimistic that most places will not do those things. Unfortunately, Chicago probably will, and
right.
New York obviously is already doing it. And so I live here in D.C. I'd be surprised if we don't. So you're going to have these liberal areas that are going to be the worst, as they have been throughout all of this.
I also predict Florida's population will be 100 million by year's end. Phil Kerpen, president of the American Commitment and chairman of the Internet Freedom Coalition. Phil, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Join us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. No activity today on Wall Street because of the Good Friday observance. Godzilla vs. Kong ruling at the box office, and OPEC ramping up oil production soon. Those stories next.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.